Golden, and I'm your host for the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap Up. I hope everyone is doing well on this Friday afternoon at the top of the 12 o'clock hour. It is 57 degrees in Hattiesburg right now. Feels a little nice outside. I just get cold really easily, so I have a big coat on with like a bunch of faux fur, but for some people, I guess it feels good. But we are finishing up, I think, about the first 4 weeks of classes, if I'm right. This is the fourth week. And it's going by really quickly. As you can tell, I'm just not keeping up, but it was a good end of the week for me, nevertheless. But as always, if you're feeling stressed out, remember to relax and take time to do things with your family and friends, like walking. It's been pretty nice outside, exercising, and just talking to friends and family. It's always good to catch up. On the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up, I talked to leaders from SM2, the Southern Miss Student Media Center. In the Media Center, students have the opportunity to get involved with print, radio, social media, and television, and curate stories that are for students and by students. Now, we're going to take a sponsorship break and hear from Sethany Smith, who is a content creator for the student prints. Stay tuned.
Join Southern Miss Radio on Sunday mornings from 6 a.m. till noon for Sunday Brunch. You'll get jazz and swing music from artists as wide-ranging as Bix Beiderbecke to Brad Meldau. From Dippermouth himself to Esperanza Spalding. But relax, you don't need to know anything about the music to enjoy it. It's a great way to wake up on Sunday morning. Sunday Brunch from 6 a.m. until noon on Southern Miss Radio.
Southern Miss Student Media wants you to tell us your love story. Tell Southern Miss Student Media your love story and why your story is unique. The most unique story wins a movie and dinner for two from JMAC Productions and Chesterfields. Go to sm2media.com or head to Facebook at Southern Miss Student Media and Instagram at sm2.usm to enter to win. It's Tell Us Your Love Story from Southern Miss Student Media, sponsored by JMAC Productions and Chesterfields.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We have Sethany Smith, who is a content creator for the Student Prints. Welcome on, Sethany. I know that you're filling in for Abigail, who is away at a conference, but we are so happy to have you on with us. And what can you tell us about what's happening this week with the prints?
So, for this week for the Student Prints, we had to report on a USM professor that passed away. I think this week. I think his name was Louis Rakoff. He's like from the theater and dance building.
Okay, so how was reporting that? Like, how was the campus reaction to the death of this professor?
I didn't report it. It was Scary Grove that reported the story.
Oh, okay. So why don't you talk to us, since this is your first time on the show, so listeners can get a chance to know you. What do you do for the Prints? We know you're a content creator, but what does that entail? Like, what are you working on in that role?
Basically, I just go out and report stories. Like, my beat is academic, so I cover stories on academics and stuff.
Okay. Are you working on anything now?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about what you're working on?
So I'm working on a story called ChatGPT. It's like a artificial intelligence tool that helps students write papers. So, like, if you give ChatGPT a prompt, it'll write you like a big answer.
Okay. So have you found that a lot of students are using this platform?
I don't think so, but I talked to like some professors and some faculty and staff about it, and they're somewhat concerned, but they're taking care of it, like taking care of the issue.
Mm-hmm. What made you want to choose to write about ChatGPT?
Chuck just gave me the story. Like I wasn't working on anything. He just gave me the story.
Are you enjoying working on it? Have you learned anything new?
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about what you've learned?
So basically, it's just a tool that pulls a lot of information from the internet created by others, and it's just like it's like a tool of plagiarism type thing.
I've actually heard a lot about it on social media, and Garrett actually talked about it, I think last week, and it's gaining a lot of popularity. Would you agree?
I think so.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you plan to work on in the future? Any more stories we can look forward to?
Not that I know of.
Okay. So how did you get on the Prince? Like, what made you want to join the Student Prince?
I don't know, paper. Just like to be prepared in the outside world.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you'd want to explore any more beats outside of academics?
Mm-hmm.
What beats would those be?
I don't know.
Okay. So how long will you be on the Prince for? I think you're graduating, right? This semester? Okay. Are you looking forward to doing that? All right. Well, thank you so much, Sethany, for being on with us today. And we're going to kick it to some promos, some sponsorship messages, and then we'll be back on.
Southern Miss Student Media is how USM communication students put their education into action. The Student Prince, Southern Miss Radio, SMTV, and SM2 Creative are the media properties operated by Southern Miss Student Media. You can get your share of the more than $600 million USM brings to the area with help from Southern Miss Student Media. To find out more about how to reach the USM audience, email sm2sales@usm.edu.
All right, everyone. We are back on with the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up. And we also do not have Garrett in the studio for the same reason we don't have Abigail. But that's okay because we have Carter Baby on with us today. Carter, introduce yourself.
Oh, well, you know, it's your boy stuff. Blaster. Nah, I can't do that. I gotta go into my assistant producer role.
Yes.
It's Cordavion Carter here, representing for SMTV, because Garrett Grove is going to Louisiana. Shout out to Garrett. Shout out to Chuck. Shout out to Abigail. You know, all those. But we're gonna talk a little bit about, you know, what we've been working on, especially for this week's episode. Yesterday we had an interview with Miss Raylani Branch. It was great, fantastic, kind of for our Black History moment for this week's show on the 15th. So I think that's an interview everybody would want to tune into. It was very interesting. A lot of great questions, a lot of great answers. She's a phenomenal person to meet. She was telling great stories. And if you miss out on this episode, I don't know what you're doing, for the most part. Sports, of course, gonna come with what they got. Our sports segment is one of the best. So y'all stay tuned for that, especially after the game last night. I'm pretty sure Charlie's gonna recap a little bit on that, and then we're gonna have Sethany do the community calendar for the first time. So we're ready for that, excited for that. Yeah, last week's show we kind of covered the Bennett Grant. We also went over a few things going on in our community with the community calendar. We had the Southern Miss Today interview. So if you didn't watch last week's episode of SMTV, y'all make sure to go watch that. But yeah, for the most part, very excited. I feel like the first show went kind of crazy. Not gonna cap. It was a lot of stuff going on in the control room behind the scenes. But other than that, the final product, it was kind of good. So, but you know, we're gonna get better as time goes on. So next episode is gonna probably be the best one.
Looking forward to hearing about it. So if I'm not mistaken, this is your first semester in this role. Am I right?
Yeah, I was in it last semester too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
But it's
sorry.
my first year. You right.
First
You
year,
good.
yeah. Well, you never been on. We don't clash much.
Yeah,
but
not really.
yeah. How are you enjoying, this second semester in your role?
Oh, it's alright. I'm gonna be honest. It's a lot. It is a lot, especially if someone would have told me it was this much, I probably would still do it. But you have limited time. You got to really be dedicated to it. So I really enjoy it though, especially getting that final product out and seeing everybody like it and watch it and things of that nature. Um, but yeah, it's stressful for the most part. But it's worth it at the end of the day, because it's something I want to do. Maybe not on the news side of things, but like production wise, I want to do production. So yeah, for the most part, it's pretty great.
So how do you work with everyone on the team? Like, how do you all divvy up the responsibility?
So I'm finna shout out my team right quick. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Shout out home team. Let me stop. We got our audio engineer. We got Shania Williams. Shania, that's my girl. She control all the audio and stuff like that. Like the music you hear, the music for the packages you hear, stuff like that. We have Ziani Furge. She's the creative director. She does the graphics. So all the lower thirds, all the intros, commercials. She kind of rolls all that. We have Ty Burridge. He is in charge of the digital news desk as well. So if you're not watching that, make sure you go watch that. He's also in charge of the website, sm2media.com. Y'all make sure y'all go check out, the newspaper and everything. He uploads his stories there. But also he runs the teleprompter, and he's kind of my guy. So he helps me kind of have control in the control room, stuff like that. Because it's a lot. Actually, I have to talk to the camera people and the talent and everybody in the control room. So he's gonna kind of ease some of that responsibility off of me and kind of take initiative on something. But also we got Alina. She's in there with the camera. We got Devontae. He's in there with the camera. We got Lauren in there with the camera. She also does the flash news briefing. She does a great job with that. Anybody else I'm forgetting? Not really. Got Jonathan McGowan, in there. He's our advisor. Great guy. Just perfection. Also we got Gary, does the script, but and me, I do the switcher and put the videos in. So yeah, for the most part. And shout out to the anchors. Y'all know who y'all are. I don't got time to shout all y'all out.
Yeah, I think it's so important, just me working with radio, to acknowledge the hard work that your team does, because you're nothing without your team. I mean, not nothing. I mean, but it's a team effort. It's a team effort. And I think all of us on the show have worked in a team in some capacity, so we know that. Before we get you out of here,
right.
I just want to know if you have any top stories that you worked on this week or are looking forward to working on next week.
Well, the top story of this week was that interview with Miss Raylani Branch. She was one of the first 2 black students to enroll here at Southern Miss.
Right.
And enter here at Southern Miss. So it was amazing being in her presence, hearing her speak. She told some great stories. It was a great interview for the most part. We had the person interviewing her crying. So that's going to be interesting to see. So y'all make sure y'all tune in into SMTV on the 15th. The 15th. Also, y'all make sure y'all go watch Southern Miss Is. I got to plug my own thing. Y'all watch Southern Miss Is. It's coming out at 12 today. Now, a little bit out after, because, I'm on the radio right now. But when I get done, I'm going to go upload it. And y'all go watch it on Instagram. And make sure y'all plug let me plug sm2media.com again. Let's make sure we go to the website. All things go through the website. Make sure y'all keep listening to WSM 88.5. All right. Is there anything else I'm forgetting to plug?
Well, you're jumping. We plug at the end of the
Oh,
show.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I make sure everybody get their love around here.
Yeah, we love it, but we got that at the end. You can say that at
My
the end
bad,
again. You're good.
I'm so sorry.
But thank you, thank you so much, Carter, for filling in for Garrett today. I think you did a wonderful job. But even though Garrett's not here in the studio with us, we will hear a rap from him, along with some more sponsorship messages. So you are listening to the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up. Stay tuned.
Bye.
Recognition for your business or product, appreciation from a dedicated audience, and establishing yourself as a caring member of the Hattiesburg community are only a few of the benefits of sponsoring programming on WUSM. In addition, our very cost-effective underwriting rates are tax deductible. To learn more about the upsides of underwriting programming on WUSM, call 601-266-4287.
Eagle's Nest Food Pantry is located under the hub at USM. It was established in 2016 by the Student Association of Social Work. It is for students, faculty, and staff at Southern Miss.
We like to dedicate an hour before we open to focus on restocking with our volunteers. And we also like to dedicate an hour of cleaning and disinfecting when we close each day.
Though the pantry offers more than food, many shelves remain unstocked at Eagle's Nest. This is due in large part to increased demand for assistance and fewer donations from the community. A steady stream of canned and processed food still comes in. However, fresh food, frozen food, and even seasonings are rarely available.
Because people aren't able to afford to give their, little extra money that they have for donations. So we are struggling with getting donations due to it.
Volunteers for Eagle's Nest make the pantry more accessible to others. For those like freshman Hayden Dangerfield, volunteering gives her a sense of purpose at USM.
And I get to meet a lot of different people that aren't just in my major. I get to meet people in other types of majors, and I think it's really fun to just meet all types of new people.
Welcome to SMTV's Community Calendar. I am Ariana Sanders here with the latest events of the campus. The Southern Miss Activities Council will have a student-led scavenger hunt on the campus at the Reed Greed Coliseum. To join in on the fun, meet us on February 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. Speaker Ray Hinton will be at the Thad Cochran Ballroom on February 22nd from 6 to 7:30 p.m. to indulge in the speaker's motivational segment entitled "The Sun Does Come Out and Shine." Come out and join the crowd. Student Affairs are developing future leaders by hosting a Student Leadership Summit on February 24th from 12:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. in the Trent Lott National Center. The application to attend is listed on the Southern Miss Student Affairs webpage. Thank you for tuning into the Community Calendar. Make sure to listen to Southern Miss Radio.
Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277. And the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Southern Miss Student Media wants you to tell us your love story. Tell Southern Miss Student Media your love story and why your story is unique. The most unique story wins a movie and dinner for two from JMAC Productions and Chesterfields. Go to sm2media.com or head to Facebook at Southern Miss Student Media and Instagram at sm2.usm to enter to win. It's Tell Us Your Love Story from Southern Miss Student Media, sponsored by JMAC Productions and Chesterfields.
Research shows that audiences feel positively about businesses that underwrite programming on their community radio station. Research also shows that the audiences are likely to patronize businesses that support community radio programming. The audience also believes that businesses that support community radio care about their community. If you want to build this type of relationship with WUSM's audience, call us at 601-266-4287 to ask about sponsoring programming. It's more than just exposure, it's building a community relationship.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ed Simpson, Director of the School of Media and Communication at USM. Join me on Southern Miss Radio Friday afternoons at 12:30 for a new show, News You Need. On News You Need, USM students will discuss current events and why those events are important to them. Listen in on how the future citizens of the U.S. consider news and how those news events affect their lives. Join me for News You Need, Fridays at 12:30 on Southern Miss Radio. News You Need is brought to you by the generosity of Partners for the Arts. Partners for the Arts raises money to enhance the budgets of the arts programs here at Southern Miss. You can show your support for the arts by becoming an active partner and visiting www.usm.edu/arts.
Yo, it's Smooth Oz.
And Charlie from the 4th Street Sports Show.
And we are psyched for our second year covering Southern Miss Athletics, and we have some new faces joining too.
Join us every Monday at 5 p.m. to hear from myself and Smooth Ost, as well as Dima, Jackson, and Nathan.
88.5 is the place to be on Mondays at 5.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We have Charlie Luttrell. He is a staple of 4th Street and is the executive producer of 4th Street, and he's on with us as usual. Hey, Charlie. How's it going?
You know, I feel like I got 15,000 steps in yesterday running around Reed Green Coliseum. I feel like I got my cardio in. I don't know how the players are feeling this morning. I was exhausted just last night. Incredible, just historic kind of night for the program. 5th largest crowd. I could go on and on, but we really just got to witness something special in Southern Miss history.
Yeah, and I talked to you before the show started, and we were talking about the game. They were both games, and I was like, I know Charlie went. There's no doubt in my mind that he went. So I didn't get a chance to go, but I saw the turnout.
Yeah.
And I know it was white out, so it was just a bunch of white everywhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was, I think, the largest crowd since Derrick Rose came here with Memphis. So over a decade, yeah. And 5th largest crowd, 8,097 people, all in white, maybe a couple not in white. Got some good crowd from Louisiana, too. But it was just an electric atmosphere. I mean, college basketball, when you have so many people in one building, there's really not any other sport that's like that. Because, you know, football, it's just all different. But when you have that many people kind of packed into that building, it's just all going down on that little court. The players feed off of that energy. They've talked about that all season long, and they really capitalized off of the last night. It was kind of just a storybook moment at the end of the game. Neftali Alvarez stole the ball and dished it to DeAndre Pinckney, who got a dunk. Just kind of, sealed the game off and gave the fans kind of a chance to just go crazy. And that's definitely just kind of a storybook moment, just from going 7-26 last season. DeAndre will tell you, you know, there were 300 people in the stands last year, and then he said he got a little emotional before the game just looking into the crowd and seeing no room, just a sea of white. You know, that stuff, players were just kind of like at the end of the game, you could just see how much it meant to them. So it's just great to see. One of the best turnaround stories in college basketball history is in the making right now.
So Monday on 4th Street, I was working that show, and I believe you all did kind of talk a little bit about the games that were going to happen yesterday. So did you have any expectations before yesterday about the games and like how they were going to turn out?
Yeah, we all knew that it was going to be the busiest game, had the potential to be a sellout, and of course it was. We were a little worried, concerned. Talked to Coach, who was also kind of concerned just naturally about what that kind of atmosphere, what that kind of game was going to have on impact on the players, because they hadn't been in that situation before. I mean, you're playing for first, you know there's going to be 8,000 people in the stadium, and you haven't had to deal with that before. You know, it's a psychological part of basketball where you're obviously going to just be pumped up, ready to go, but you have to be able to control that and play within the game. Basketball, you can't get bigger than the game. And at first, you know, they fell behind, and lots of that was nerves. Coach was specifically talking to Felipe at halftime, who had 0 points. He turned around in the second half and had 17 points. They were just calm and collected in the second half, and that's really what I wouldn't say surprised me, but really impressed me about that is that they showed that they could get it done by just kind of collecting in the second half.
Alrighty, well, so I know the games are like the highlight of this segment for today, but regarding 4th Street, because I know you all are going to recap the game, I just know that's going to happen. What can we look forward to Monday at 5?
Yes,
Street?
so we just had you were on the show. We just had probably our biggest show ever, I think, with head coach Scott Berry for the baseball, Southern Miss baseball, previewing the season. It was really great talking to him, talked a lot of baseball, and we also have that all in our baseball preview in the student prints. We break down basically the starting lineup, projected weekend rotation, and just kind of talking about the success Reed Green Coliseum is having. Pete Taylor Park is basically sold out, less than 100 season tickets remaining. They've sold out the whole stadium with season tickets practically, and that's all standing room. So Southern Miss baseball, obviously with the potential to go to the national championship to Omaha, and that's what they're kind of looking forward to. So obviously with that being less than a week away now, or a week away exactly today, we're going to be talking a lot about that, but also softball starts today. So we've got a cool story on one of the players that will be playing next week, and we're just going to be talking, it's the crossover season, so we'll be talking a lot about softball and baseball next week.
That's amazing that we just have so many sports happening at once, because it's also tennis season, and there's
tennis will
baseball,
be playing.
just a whole lot of sports. Well, as always, thank you, Charlie, for being on and being so informed about sports.
Thank you. It's
And
my
we're
job.
and we're actually going to hear a rap from you coming up. So let's take a listen.
We want to build the point where standard is not 20 wins. It's 25 wins, and it's going to the NCAA tournament, and the Reed Green Coliseum is full every night. That's our vision. That's where we want it to be.
It's been a quick turnaround for Southern Miss men's basketball this season. In fact, it has been the quickest turnaround in program history. The Golden Eagles have won 21 games after winning just 7 last season. They've accomplished many of the goals they set, but head coach Jay Ladner said the team is moving the bar up with just 6 games left in the regular season. And the task that sits in front of the team is the most anticipated game of Ladner's tenure, a battle for first place in the Sun Belt at home against rival Louisiana.
They've got a great team. There's a lot of excitement to the game, and here we are in February with 6 games left, and we're battling each other for first place.
The Ragin' Cajuns come to Hattiesburg on a 10-game winning streak after beating Marshall at home, and it's the second time that these two have met this year. Louisiana handed the Golden Eagles their first conference loss in January.
And it's one of the parts of coaching that I really enjoy is kind of the chess match, and what are they going to do, and maybe what we're going to do differently. And of course, at this point of the year, we're not going to change a lot. They're not going to change a lot, but there are some minor tweaks and so forth that I think both coaches will do to try to give their teams the best opportunity to be successful.
The Golden Eagles are on a 7-game win streak themselves and will have the advantage of playing in front of what is set to be the largest crowd of Ladner's tenure. But in a game with this energy and riding the high of a quick rise to the top, there is a psychological component that must be kept in check.
The excitement around the community, of course, social media is so much different than it was when I was playing, and everybody's, telling them how good they are and so forth, and it's a concern, but we try to make sure that we stay humble every day. We talk to them about humility.
While the Ragin' Cajuns ran away with the first game, there's a feeling that this game will be quite different, with both teams healthy and fighting for the #1 seed in the conference.
And I hope we can get this thing sold out on Thursday. I know there's a lot of excitement, and we're also excited too.
This has been Charlie Luttrell for the 4th Street Sports Show.
Thanks, Charlie. And that's it for the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up. I want to give a big thanks to Sethany, Carter, and Charlie for coming on today. And I just want to remind listeners that you can find all of the content that was discussed on the show today by going to sm2media.com, looking at newspapers on campus, checking out 4th Street on 88.5 on Mondays at 5, or going to the Instagram at our Instagram page at sm2.usm. Thank you all for listening, and have a great day.
This has been the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up. A look at the events Southern Miss Student Media has covered throughout the week and the events Southern Miss Student Media is working on for next week. The Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up airs Fridays at noon on Southern Miss Radio. We'll see you next week for the Southern Miss Student Media Weekly Wrap-Up. Sponsorship comes from Southern Beverage, your local Michelob Ultra distributor. Michelob Ultra has significantly fewer carbs and calories per serving if you are watching those in your diet. You can reach Southern Beverage by phone at 601-268-9111. Or you can find them on the internet at southernbeverage.com. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri, and Southern